Hey everyone, today we're going to learn about the XLOOKUP function, which will help us return relevant data from a larger range. We'll start with the basic features of XLOOKUP, and at the end, we'll look at some more optional complexities as well. So as you can see here, we have a data set with all 50 states, their region, their subregion, and their population. So it's not that large of a data set, but if you had a data set with hundreds of data points, XLOOKUP would come in handy. So let's say, for example, we have a state, and we'll say our state is Kentucky, and we want to find the population of Kentucky. And if we had hundreds of data points, we don't want to have to scroll or search for Kentucky and manually enter it here. We can use XLOOKUP as a function that will help us out. And then the other benefit for doing this is that later on we can change the state from Kentucky to a different state, and the function will return that state's data as well. So simply put, in this cell I3, we will type in equals XLOOKUP, just like that. Open our parentheses, and then first we need to select the lookup value. The lookup value will be the state, Kentucky, and then if we add a comma, we now need the lookup array. The lookup array is the range of data, in this case column C, so we can select column C. So now within column C, we will be looking for the lookup value of Kentucky. And then finally, we add one more comma, and the return array in this case will be the population. So column F, we can select that. We can close our parentheses, and we can hit enter. So if we grab some formatting and change the formatting a little, you will see that the population of Kentucky returns as 4.5 million, which if we scroll down, you will see that that is accurate. And then going back up to our formula, if we change the return array, which is currently column F, if we change this to column E, the subregion, and hit enter, you'll see that Kentucky subregion is East, South, Central, which if we scroll down again is accurate. So we can go back up, we can hit undo and leave this as the population for now. Also real quick, let me just show you, if we change the state to California, our population will update to California's population. So now you have the freedom to move this formula around, change the components, and use this instead of having to scroll down through the data and search for stuff. So this is the basic function of XLOOKUP, but like I said at the beginning, there are other complexities we can use as well. So we will look at one of those in the next example. So what I'm going to do down below is type in South Atlantic, and this is one of our subregions. I will copy the formatting over. And let's say I wanted to find the state within the South Atlantic subregion with the highest population. We can do this using XLOOKUP. So if we go into cell I5, we type in equals XLOOKUP and open our parentheses. The lookup value will be H5 South Atlantic. If we add a comma, the lookup array will be column E, the subregion. And then if we add one more comma, the return array will be column C, the state. So with the formula how it is, it will return a state in the South Atlantic subregion. So let's close our parentheses and hit enter, and we will get Florida. Florida is returning because it is the first state listed in the South Atlantic subregion, but there are many other states as well, like Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, and so on. So what if we wanted to find out the state in the South Atlantic subregion with the smallest population? We can do that if we go back into our formula. Let's get rid of this parentheses, add a comma, add another comma because the if not found mode is not something we need to use. Add one more comma, we're skipping over the match mode, and we will be using the search mode option, which is the last optional feature in this function. So as you can see in this little dialog box, there are some options for us. So if we type in the number 1, it will search from first to last. We can close our parentheses, and Florida will still pop up as it is the default. You are searching from South Atlantic subregions, and the first one that pops up is Florida. But if we want to find the smallest population, going back into our formula, -1 will search last to first. If we hit enter, it shows that Delaware, and if we scroll down, South Atlantic, Delaware. Yep, Delaware is the smallest state in the South Atlantic subregion, so this is correct. And that's the search mode option for XLOOKUP in a nutshell. You can search from first to last or last to first. And then there's one more option I want to show you guys, which is called the match mode. And to do this, I'm going to add an extra column in our chart, and I will call this column size. And we can also add some borders around it to add it to our chart. Let's add some borders. And as you can see off to the right here, I have this little chart I made earlier where it gives a name for the size of a state based on population. So basically the gist is a tiny state is one with a population of 1 million or less, and then up to 3 million is small, up to 10 mid-sized, up to 20 large, and anything greater than 20 basically is a huge state. So starting with California, we can figure out its size by clicking into cell G3 and typing equals XLOOKUP, open parentheses, and our lookup value will be F3, California's population. We can add a comma, and the lookup array will be the population in this chart off to the side. Add one more comma, and the return array, what we'll be displaying in our size, is the option of sizes here. And then we can add another comma, add one more to skip over if not found, and then now we want to pick our match mode. And here I'm going to type in the number 1, so we will get an exact match or the next larger item. So for example, California's population of 39 million will show the next larger item from this chart, which is 50 million, and it will display the size titled huge. So we can close our parentheses and hit enter, and you'll see that California accurately is a huge state. And then if I want to drag this function all the way down, what I'm going to need to do is add some absolute references for the lookup array and the return array. As you know, we can click the F4 key on all of these to add $signs and add an absolute reference and hit enter. And then if we drag this all the way down, you'll see the accurate size displayed for each state. All the states under 1 million as tiny, all the small states from 1 million to 3 million, and so on and so forth. Real quick, just to show you the other option, if we change the formula match mode to -1, so that means exact match or next smaller item, and then we drag that down, it will now shift the tiers down because we are now moving a tier down rather than a tier up for the sizes. And if you scroll down to the bottom, the formerly tiny states now have no range because we only had up to 1 million in our chart. But we can undo that for now because we want it to be displayed the first way. And that's basically it for XLOOKUP. Now you know how to create the function, how to select the different arrays, the options of search mode and match mode, and you're ready to transfer this knowledge into much larger data sets as well. So I hope you learned something from this. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you have not yet already. Thanks for watching.